हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं मॉर्फोलॉजी ऑफ फ्लावरिंग प्लांट्स का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फ्रॉम द रूट विच इज द रीजन्स ऑफ रूट। सो रूट पे अलग अलग कौन कौन से रीजन्स होते हैं उसके बारे में आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे। सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द फर्स्ट एंड द फॉरमोस्ट फ्रॉम द बॉटम, so we have root cap over here. Okay, so our NCERT also writes that the root is covered at the apex by a thimble like structure which is called as the root cap. So पहले देखते हैं कि ये रूट कैप क्या है एंड व्हाट फंक्शन डज इट प्ले इन द रूट। रूट कैप को हम कैलिप्ट्रा भी कहते हैं। सो दिस कैलिप्ट्रा, व्हाट डज इट मीन? दिस इज फ्रॉम द ग्रीक वर्ड जिसका मतलब है कैलिप्ट्रोस, एंड कैलिप्ट्रोस का मतलब होता है ग्रीक में कवरिंग। ओके, सो कवरिंग। अब यहाँ देखते हैं कि रूट का जो बेसिक ये कवर है, रूट कैप इज जस्ट इट इज लाइक अ कवर टू द रूट। फाइन, सो इट इज लाइक अ कैप like protection which is covering the tip of the root. So the cap which covers the tip of the root and protects it is what you call as a root cap या फिर calyptra. Now it continuously secretes mucilage also. Mucilage secretion basically क्या करता है? लुब्रिकेट करेगा सॉइल को जिसमें कि रूट को ग्रो करना है। ओके, सो कंटिन्यूअस सिक्रीशन फ्रॉम द म्यूसिलेज हैपेंस, रूट कैप उसको सिक्रीट करता है और जिस भी सॉइल में वो ग्रो कर रही है कंटिन्यूअसली उस सॉइल को लुब्रिकेट करेगा सो दैट इट इज इजी फॉर द रूट टू पास थ्रू द सॉइल। ओके, now next is outer cells of the root cap peel off due to friction from the soil particles. So जैसे जैसे ये जो root है basically soil में continuously grow कर रही है, इसके because this is all soil over here. तो root cap जैसे जैसे soil में penetrate करता रहेगा, नीचे grow करता रहेगा, इन particles से basically जो soil particles हैं वो उसको friction दे रहे हैं। Okay, and therefore उनका continuously tearing off होता जाता है, वो peel off हो जाते हैं and they have to be regularly added by this growing point. जो growing point उसके ऊपर है वो उसको continuously replace करता रहता है। Okay, so therefore new cells are regularly added to it from the growing point also. Okay, so this was about the root cap, which we also call as calyptra. Coming to the second region, which is the growing point or the meristematic region. Now growing point, or we also called as the meristematic region, इसके अंदर जो cells हैं वो meristematic cells हैं। Okay, so meristematic cells, as we know, they are small, thin walled and they have a dense protoplasm क्योंकि इन cells को regularly divide करके they have to form the new cells. Fine. Now these cells divide regularly to add new cells to the root cap, and also new cells are added to the zone of elongation. Okay, so growing point का काम basically ये है कि ये meristematic cells हैं जो regularly divide करते रहते हैं और नए cells add करते रहते हैं। उन cells को भी replace करते हैं जो root cap में basically peel off हो जाते हैं और वो भी cells जो इसके ऊपर zone of elongation में present है, they are also being replenished by this growing point only. Also, this is protected by the root cap. Fine. So this is the second region, which is the growing point or the meristematic region. Next is zone of elongation. Now this is present behind the meristematic region. ग्रोइंग पॉइंट या फिर मेरिस्टेमेटिक रीजन के जस्ट ऊपर हमारा जोन ऑफ इलोंगेशन प्रेजेंट है एंड इट इज कंटिन्यूअसली रिसीविंग न्यू सेल्स फ्रॉम द ग्रोइंग पॉइंट। नाउ सिंस वी डिस्कस्ड इन द प्रीवियस स्लाइड कि ग्रोइंग पॉइंट या मेरिस्टेमेटिक रीजन के जो सेल्स हैं वो कंटिन्यूअसली डिवाइड हो रही हैं एंड दे आर कंटिन्यूअसली एडिंग न्यू सेल्स टू द जोन ऑफ इलोंगेशन. So therefore they are receiving new cells from the growing point or the zone of meristematic cells. Okay, also these are the cells which elongate. ये cells जो यहाँ पर zone of elongation में present है basically, ये cells elongate होंगे और ये length root की add करेंगे. So basically जो root की lengthening हो रही है या फिर जो root elongate हो रही है, it is because of the elongation of the cells of the zone of elongation. ठीक है, so cells elongate, cells लंबे होते हैं and they bring about the growth of the length of the root. और इन cells के लंबे होने से जो root की lengthening होती है, जो penetrate करती है roots deep into the soil, it is because of the lengthening of these cells. Next is also they are absorbing minerals and water from the soil. Next is root hair zone or the zone of differentiation, and it is also called as the zone of maturation. Now, this is the most important part of the root. Now, why we are writing most important? Because this is where the main function of root, which is absorption of water and minerals, would be fulfilled. So 1 to 6 centimeter is length for this entire zone, which we call as root hair zone. And यहाँ पर जो root hairs हैं, बेसिकली उनका काम क्या है कि उनको एब्जॉर्प्शन करना है वाटर एंड मिनरल्स फ्रॉम द सॉइल. सो व्हाटएवर वाटर एंड मिनरल्स इज प्रेजेंट इन द सॉइल, it is going to be basically absorbed at this zone because it has a lot of root hairs, and these root hairs are helping the root to absorb more of water and minerals from the soil. Okay, so however, these are not permanent. Now, these root hairs become functionless after some time and they are shed off after some time, and new cells also are being added from the zone of elongation. Zone of elongation से new cells को भी यहाँ पर फिर add कर दिया जाता है. Older cells are passed on to the zone of mature cells. जैसे जैसे cells old होते जाएंगे, उनको यहाँ पर zone of mature cells में they would be passed on. Fine. So root hair zone is the main important part of the root because it is mainly responsible for the absorption of water from the soil and of course the minerals as well. Now let us see what NCERT text tells us about it. So root is covered at the apex by a thimble-like structure which is called as root cap. As we have discussed in the slides also, this root cap is the thimble-like structure जो कि penetrate करता है roots में. It continuously secretes mucilage and it lubricates the soil, and it is a protective cap which is present on the root. Okay, so it protects the tender apex of the root as it makes its way through the soil. Okay, so because the apex is very tender, it is formed from the new meristematic cells which are continuously dividing and adding on the new cells there. Therefore, those tender cells have to be protected. And root cap is basically serving as a purpose to protect those newly formed cells in the root. Next is a few millimeters above the root cap is the region of meristematic activity. So this is the second region, which is the region of meristematic activity. इस region में cells continuously divide होते हैं, and therefore, this because the cells are continuously dividing, they are having a dense protoplasm, and they are basically the cells proximal to the region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. So now they're talking about the region of elongation, जिसके cells continuously elongate कर रहे हैं और roots की length को increase कर रहे हैं. Okay, so they are bringing about the lengthening of the roots because यहाँ पे जो cells हैं वो elongate होंगे, लंबे होंगे, and so the root lengthens. Root की length लंबी होती है. Okay, so this is the region of elongation. So region of elongation के जो cells हैं, now they will gradually differentiate and they will mature, and hence now the next zone is the region of maturation. Fine. So this region of maturation also, this region has the root hair zone in which various root hairs are present, and these root hairs basically absorb water and minerals from the soil. So this is a very important region wherein the maximum absorption of water and minerals from the soil is. Therefore, this region of root hairs and region of maturation holds importance. Region of maturation also constitutes the bulk of the root, and the root hairs present here would be, absorbing the maximum amount of minerals and water from the. So I hope this is clear to you. Please subscribe the channel and stay tuned for more further videos. Thank you.